Want to talk sports?
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. It is Wednesday, June 9th, 2021. And the Jazz have crowned their king. What a night for Donovan Mitchell and your Utah Jazz. Jake, are you ready to say that the Utah Jazz are the best team that's ever played at Vivint Smart Home Arena?
I don't want to have to make any Joseph references today, so please don't force me into that.
Bro, we're a minute into the show. The Utah Jazz had an incredible night. Got back to playing Utah Jazz basketball in the third quarter, and the LA Clippers certainly paid the price for that. We'll talk all about Game 1 and get your reaction to it. We'll get you ready for Denver and Phoenix tonight. Devin Booker has the national stage all to himself as he will watch. I don't know. I guess you wait till you get back to Denver to give Jokic the MVP trophy.
Yeah.
But he'll watch the MVP and the Denver Nuggets try to win Game 2 against his Phoenix Suns. We'll get you ready there. Jake's pissed off that a new Cane's restaurant is opening in South Jordan. He hates fat people, and he doesn't pay his taxes. All of that coming up.
Wow, that was not a good 10 seconds for me.
Why would happen?
I hate fat people and don't pay taxes.
Right. I mean,
Ooh.
you know, isn't that true?
No.
Ricky Martinez says Donovan Mitchell is greater than Michael Jordan.
Here we go.
Okay. That's one way to look at it. Cody Strickland says, I was thinking Jazz lose the first game due to a long break and no Conley. Still going to be a Coke that Jazz within 5. Okay, Cody, if the Jazz win in 5, I mean, Jake will still hate fat people. I don't know what more you want from him. Listen, this was one of those games that the Jazz absolutely needed to feel. And if you are a Utah Jazz fan this morning, I think you have to be feeling awfully lucky, and you have to be counting your stars this morning that you walked away with a Game 1 win, especially without Mike Conley, who now probably does not play in Game 2, by the way. You were really nervous going into this game, but Donovan Mitchell came out in the third quarter and put up a virtuoso performance. And as we told you on this show yesterday, the Jazz need to get back to dominating in the third quarter. And Jake, my goodness, they certainly did that.
Yeah, I thought they came out and handled their business in the third. I think that, the first half was really interesting to me. I felt like the Clippers. I felt like the Clippers dominated the Jazz in the first half. Honestly, you look at the defense they were playing. You look at the quality of the look that the Clippers were getting, and just the way the game was going. The Jazz were struggling, and that's why you saw the down 13 going into halftime setup. And so then there's almost this expectation where you're going to come out in the third. And it's like, hey, we have to light it up. This is our time to get back in this game. And I felt like, the Jazz do deserve a ton of credit for that third quarter and the way they finished the game. Absolutely. But my honest opinion is I felt like the Clippers made a lot of mental mistakes. I felt like they basically allowed the Jazz to shoot a lot of open looks in the second half. And like we told you yesterday, if you give the Jazz open looks, they're gonna knock them down. I mean that this is not anything to take away from the Jazz. They shot the hell out of the ball in the second half, and the Clippers paid the price for that. And I think that through this game and through the 7-gamer with Dallas, Ty Lue showed us that there's a lot of adjustments that he makes. I thought the strings he pulled bringing in Boogie Cousins for that stretch, I thought the way he handled the rotations was excellent, and I thought that's what led to their productivity in the first half. It just felt like that Donovan Mitchell came out, steadied the ship for the Utah Jazz, and once they got level with the Clippers again in the third quarter, it was like, all right, well, the Jazz have all the momentum, the Clippers are kind of chasing it, and it feels like the Jazz are going to ride off into the sunset in this game. So I think it's kind of it obviously is a tale of two halves, and I think it depends on which half you look at, how you should feel about this team. I think the first half, for the most part, was pretty realistic about how the series is going to go. However, I think the Jazz did miss a lot of shots in the first half. So I think the Jazz are going to come back to the middle on their shooting, but I also think the Clippers are going to come back in Game 2 and force the Jazz off the three-point line. I think it will be a mission for the Clippers to say, hey, we're not letting you get all these open looks. We're more than happy if you want to go buy us, but we're not letting you make all these threes. So that's what I think on a very surface level would be the adjustment heading into game 2.
Well, listen, I also think there is a large discussion to be had around, which one of these teams played their best basketball last night. And my answer would be neither. I think that first half we saw a very rusty, I think, and maybe the right word is a team that was pressing. I certainly feel like the Jazz rushed a lot of shots. I think we saw a concerted effort in the third quarter to isolate Luke Kennard in the pick and roll, which I feel like completely changed the way that this game was going and how this game turned out. I have to think that Luke Kennard sees less minutes, and they're going to wind up making an adjustment. I thought the way the game was officiated was pretty down the middle. I think the Jazz got just about every call.
Yeah.
And if you're a Utah Jazz fan, I don't ever want to hear you complain about the officials again.
Yeah.
Because you got so many calls, especially in the second and third quarter. Reggie Jackson fouling out of this game. The Marcus Morris fouls on the block. There were just so many moments where the Jazz got so many calls in critical situations that really put the Clippers behind the 8 ball. You're going to need that, in my opinion. You're going to need to continue to be aggressive so that you can continue to make those plays and get those calls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think Reggie Jackson fouling out in this game is a direct result of some of those soft or what I like to call ticky-tack calls early in the game, and I think that so often we talk officiating on this show and Jazz fans are just perturbed by the officiating and we hear all the time on the show about how the league is out to get the Jazz and everything is against the Jazz. Well, you can't say that anymore, man. You guys got a lot of calls last night, and again, I want to say it's not to discredit the Jazz win. I'm just simply saying in this game, you have a situation where Reggie Jackson, one of their best players, is fouling out of the game with what I think it was like 4 minutes left to go or whatever. I mean, there was still plenty of time. The game was still very much in question, at that point. So losing him with 4 minutes to go is a big deal, especially because he can make a contested three and he can get his own shot. So overall, great win for the Jazz. I think, we got to talk about the Rudy play at the end of the game because I think there's a lot of controversy around that. Again, I think that's the prime example. The Clippers could have done a much better job in the situation, and they just didn't execute.
Yeah, it is shocking to me that the mental lapses from the LA Clippers, and we were having a big go-around about this on Twitter last night, throwing three-quarter court passes when nobody is on you. I mean, in the late third quarter, that leads to a turnover is just stupid basketball. You turn the ball over on 3 different inbound plays where you have 2 Clippers on their end of the floor. One of them is guarded, one of them is open. Let's throw it to the guarded guy. Leads to a turnover. It's these kind of mental mistakes, not communicating on pick and rolls, not staying tight to Jordan Clarkson. And that's Rajon Rondo, who's a veteran who supposedly was brought into this team to avoid those mistakes. The shocking part about this game was not Donovan Mitchell going off. The shocking part of this game was that in the fourth quarter, he had 3 wide open looks and 2 more layups that were essentially uncontested.
Gimmies.
Yeah, the Clippers just... and I think a lot of it is the home court advantage. When you have 18,000 people at Vivint Arena last night that were, losing their minds and incredibly loud and raucous, you add the altitude to that where the Clippers have been playing in LA and in Dallas, and then you come to Salt Lake City and you got to play at altitude. The LA Clippers absolutely fell apart, and it was shocking. But I'll go back to something that you've said for weeks now, that this Clipper team decides when they want to play and when they don't.
Yeah.
And when they don't, it's the fourth quarter in game 1 of the Western Conference semis.
Yep.
And Paul George has an atrocious night, which is another thing that I think is crazy. And again, I on the Clippers side of this, Paul George missed so many looks that he usually makes. Kawhi Leonard missing those mid-range jumpers.
Yeah.
I mean, some of that is that the Jazz were not going to allow them to shoot easy threes. That was not going to happen.
Right.
But it's surprising the quality of shot that the Clippers were able to get that they just bricked.
Yeah, I felt like I think we could have that conversation both ways. I think for the Clippers, obviously it goes without saying you would think that for an NBA player, it's definitely a higher percentage look from the elbow than it would be for, from three, just like generally speaking. But it's so funny how, in the league now today, you look at how how offenses are run and what kind of looks they're trying to get. And so often, and we see this with a guy tonight in Devin Booker, so often teams are so comfortable from three that when they try to progress their skill set to incorporate the mid-range game, they lose the touch from three. And so with this game last night, I'm sitting here saying, man, dude, Paul, it's an 18-foot jump shot. Knock it down. You're a superstar player. Why are we missing all of these? I can get down with, hey, it was a contested three, or, hey, you're shooting this ridiculous baseline jumper with a high level of difficulty. Okay, miss those. I'm fine with that. But they need him and Kawhi, and frankly, Reggie, to knock down those shots. If you knock down those shots, you're not down by 3 with 5 seconds left. That's the difference in the game, in my opinion. Everybody was saying, well, the difference in this game is, in the first half, I saw multiple people saying the difference in this game is Luke Kennard's, 10 points or whatever. And I just totally disagree.
Yeah, I
disagree. The difference in the game is the Clippers should have been up 20 going to the half. They turn it over. They don't make the mid-range shot. Now it's only 13, and the Jazz come out in the third quarter and torch you. That's the difference.
That turnover in the corner, where Rajon Rondo just is not paying attention.
Yeah.
And throws the ball to Marcus Morris, who's not paying attention, not looking. You're the only guy down there to inbound the ball to. You're not paying attention. Bogdanovich winds up hitting a three in the corner on that. That changed the direction and the momentum. You should have been up, and I think they said this at half. You should have been up 21 points at halftime.
Yeah, in Utah, the Jazz are too good for you to make those little mistakes.
That's right.
If you don't bury the Jazz, and if you don't say, hey, you're not coming back, it's over, we're making a statement here tonight, they're going to come back and eat you.
Yeah, the Jazz are an elite basketball team that you cannot hand them easy points.
Yeah.
And I think, Luke Kennard not being switched out, Luke Kennard being caught continuously in pick and rolls, I was a little surprised they didn't adjust to that.
Yep.
I was a little surprised that Kawhi Leonard was not guarding Donovan Mitchell late in the game. That was a little surprising. It was surprising that midway through the third quarter, the Clippers did not double team Donovan Mitchell. And at that point, then he gets hot, and you're not turning. When a guy like Donovan Mitchell gets hot like that, you're not cooling him off.
Right.
Right. That ball's going in, and there's nothing you're going to do about that. And it to me, what the Jazz changed at the half is they just got a lot more aggressive. And I was surprised that they weren't that aggressive the first two quarters. Now, some of that was that Zubac was dominating in the paint. And I think Ivica Zubac is an interesting figure in this series because Rudy clearly struggled to deal with him. And Zubac blocking multiple shots was a little surprising.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things, if you're a Jazz fan, that you feel good about is the Clippers got a couple of performances out of guys, Luke Kennard, Ivica Zubac, DeMarcus Cousins, that really were surprising. Now, why did they get those performances? Because Paul George got into foul trouble. Kawhi Leonard was in foul trouble. So they played more. And I think you never game plan for DeMarcus Cousins because he didn't play at all in the Dallas series.
Pat Bev.
But the way Pat Beverly impacted the game. And the thing that also I think you have to really look forward to if you're the Jazz, what is the adjustment that Ty Lue's going to make? One of the things we've seen out of Ty Lue, especially in the Dallas series, is that he's shown this ability now to have a much better handle on the game. He's not the same coach that was with LeBron James. This is a different Ty Lue, and he's done a nice job of adjusting. I thought it showed a lot of what is that? It took a lot of balls not to bring DeMarcus or Pat Bev back in.
Mm-hmm.
They played well. They gave you a contribution. They feel good about how they played. Let them sit, right? But if you're the Jazz, I think you have to find a clear number 2 guy to run with Donovan Mitchell. That's the Jazz adjustment. And I don't know how you saw it, and I see everybody commenting. We're
going to get there. Don't worry.
But one of the things I thought was so interesting is that Bojan Bogdanovic was just a non-factor for 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, he was a non-factor until that turnover where he hit that corner 3.
Yeah.
When that happened, he woke up.
That woke him up. But it is really surprising to me that Bogey has to struggle to get going.
Yeah, I think so. There's one of two situations where Bogdanovic wakes up. So, yes, like you just said, he has to struggle. He's got to miss some shots, and that's going to force him to work into the paint.
Right.
B, other situation would be, hey, he's just not seeing the ball a lot, and he's playing good defense, and he gets in and gets some physical rebounds. I saw that a couple times last night where he went in there and just battled guys, and I thought that he got it going from the mid range. He then started making some big shots, and that's why I say you notice the theme on the show today, right? With all these different situations we're talking about, and this is something I want you guys to pay attention to, and I want to preface it by saying this is not meant to discredit the Jazz. This is not meant to be a knock on the Jazz, but I think it's just really fascinating in this series. We look at it. And I find myself saying, hey, the Jazz did their job, but what would have happened if the Clippers actually executed at the level that we, would have expected them to execute?
Yeah, but I think some of that you have to give the Jazz credit for, physically bumping Paul George off his shot several times. And I think Paul never adjusted to that. I think you have to give the Jazz credit for taking, for better or for worse, for taking a guy like Kawhi Leonard out of the game with dives and with, there were two fouls on Kawhi Leonard in the first half where Donovan Mitchell just fell down.
Yeah, Donovan was diving early in the game.
Yeah,
and there's no way to get away from that.
But he was getting calls.
Yeah, well, because he's Donovan Mitchell.
And it works. And so I think you have to give the Jazz credit for how they went at Kawhi Leonard. The problem is, I don't know that you can expect Kawhi Leonard to react and play that same way. I obviously don't think that he will. There's one thing we know about this LA Clipper team, and that is that they're resilient. I mean, they went through a lot of adversity in the Dallas series. I think they're resilient. They're going to have to play much better because the Jazz were the superior team last night. I think Donovan Mitchell absolutely is spectacular. And if you are a Utah Jazz fan, I really hope that you are taking some time to appreciate Don, to realize exactly how lucky you are to be watching him, and to be watching Donovan Mitchell playing at this level is a treat if you're a Jazz fan. It does not last long. It is very difficult to do at this level consistently, and I would really encourage you to appreciate it, because I can tell you, I've been very fortunate to watch guys like Jordan and Kobe up front in person, and you always take it for granted on some level. Don't take Donovan Mitchell for granted. And some of the other things that I think you really have to be happy about if you're a Jazz fan, Jordan Clarkson pulled out of his slump last night. I mean, he was a bricklayer.
But again, I have to get in here and say, man, if you didn't give him so many open looks early in the game, maybe he wouldn't have caught fire, but you did.
Early in the game, in the fourth quarter,
shots.
he hit 2 corner threes where there was not a hand up in his face.
But that's what I'm saying.
Which is shocking.
But in the fourth quarter, the build up to this game was crazy, because I felt like, the Clippers were making mental mistakes in the first quarter.
Lots of mental mistakes.
Let's not beat around the bush. They were making mental mistakes, and the Jazz were missing shots. Admittedly, they came out rusty. I think we can all agree on that. But my point here, and what I'm getting at, is that moving to game 2, I'm telling you guys, both of these teams are going to come back to the middle a little bit. The Jazz are going to make more shots. They're going to shoot it from their usual percentage from 3. Yes, that's going to happen. But what I'm telling you is the Clippers are not going to continue to allow the Jazz to get all these wide open looks. So what I think that looks like in reality is 30 3-point attempts a game for the rest of the series for the Jazz, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I think they're going to try and probably knock down 20 of those. And I think if they're knocking down, if they're going 20 of 30 from 3, they're going to win this series. But my point just is you can't allow the Jazz to take like 40 attempts from three. That's not going to be a recipe for success if you're the Clippers.
Well, and I think one of the other things you got to talk about here is the schedule of this series. There's no time to rest and recuperate if you're the LA Clippers. It's every other day. So you're going to play Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
Yeah.
There's no rest for the weary. And the altitude was absolutely a difference maker. Some of the adjustments I would expect the Jazz to make, I would think that Rudy's going to have to change the way he's playing. Because I will also say this, that was a great block in the corner last night to end the game on Marcus Morris. Any other player with the ball in his hands is at the free throw line shooting 3 free throws. I don't know how Marcus Morris doesn't just jump into Rudy Gobert. And again, Rudy blocked the shot. I'm not trying to take anything away from Rudy Gobert. He ran at Marcus Morris uncontrolled.
Compromised himself.
And leaped into the air. And Marcus Morris decided to dribble right and try to shoot over Rudy. Where anybody else, and I mean anybody.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie, who fouled out. Kawhi, Paul George. Any of those guys are going to take that three by jumping into Rudy Gobert. And that's an automatic whistle.
Yeah.
That's going to be called every single time.
Yeah.
I think Rudy Gobert is going to have to give them more than 10 and 12. It was really interesting to watch the Clippers switch at one point. Patrick Beverley, Rajon Rondo, Paul George, like all those guys were rolling with Rudy Gobert to the basket, and never once, and maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're not.
Never once did Joe
the
Ingles.
Jazz don't even look.
Joe Ingles on multiple occasions never even looked into the post.
Honestly, they're not even looking at Rudy.
And it was a problem in the first half. It was not a problem in the second half because Donovan Mitchell got hot. And one of the other adjustments I think you're going to have to make is you're going to have to give Bojan Bogdanovic the ball on the block because he dominated when you allowed him to play with his back to the basket and you were having him play on switches. So it was Rondo at one point. Again, Luke Kennard, who the Jazz clearly targeted and attacked. I mean, the game plan to attack Luke Kennard was fabulous.
Yeah.
That was really well done by Quinn and his staff.
Brilliant adjustment.
It was a great in-game adjustment.
Yeah.
I thought they handled that well. I'm curious if you can continue these trends into Game 2. That'll be the big thing. Game 2 tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Mountain Time. It will be interesting to see if the Jazz are able to exploit Luke Kennard. Are they able to continue to get wide open looks for Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
And my guess is in the second half, you're not going to see Ivica Zubac because Zubac was not stepping up on the pick and roll, and Donovan Mitchell and Bojan Bogdanovic were having open looks.
See, I actually thought that Zubac earned himself more minutes. I agree he needs to step more, but I thought he played really well.
I just don't see how you give him more minutes when you are, essentially when Zubac, especially in the third and fourth quarter, you have to step up into that pick and roll. You have to. And really what I expect the Clippers to do, and I'll be interested to see how Quinn adjusts to it, what I expect the Clippers to do is double team Donovan Mitchell at the half court stripe, and do not allow him to bring the. When you allow Donovan Mitchell to walk the ball up over the half court line, it's lethal.
You need Pat Bev to hunt him the whole game.
But I think Tyronn Lue does not trust Patrick Beverley. That much is very clear. Pat Beverley is not a great 3-point shooter, but his defense. He went up and took a rebound right out of the hands of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, well, he has no fear. That's the biggest thing. He has the
I would agree with that.
Don't give an F gene in him as a basketball player, and it's hard to find guys like that, and that has value in certain situations.
Yep. Ziggy says, "Morning, fellas." Cody Strickland says, "Whoop, first LOL." There you go. Ziggy says, "Give me more confidence with a win without Conley." Yeah. And I think that's what, how we open the show saying is that you got to feel really good that now I don't think you should play Mike Conley in Game 2.
I wouldn't. Why would you?
Why would you?
Make the Clippers prove they can beat you without him, because at the end of the day, Game 2 is now the game of the series, frankly. This is a must-win game if you're the Clippers. You're not going down, honestly, you're not going down 2-0 to the Jazz and coming back. That's not happening.
Well, and if you go down 0-2, right? You're not going to beat them 4 out of 5.
No,
nobody's
you're not,
beating the Utah Jazz 4 out of 5
That's just
games.
not realistic, and that's why I say, if you're the Jazz, you now have breathing room. Why you're not incentivized to bring Conley back for game 2 unless he's just somehow like 100%, like there's no injury concern. But I don't know how you go from, hey, we're not going to play you in game 1 to 100% in game 2. That's not realistic.
I wouldn't play Conley until you lose a game in the series.
Yeah. I would hope to not play him till game 4, honestly, because if you can win game 2 tomorrow night, then you're gonna get that another day off, and then you're gonna go to LA. Let's see what happens when they play game 3 in LA. Let's say you go to LA up 2-0, and let's say that you happen to lose the first game in LA. Okay. Now we can have a conversation about Conley, but I agree with you. I wouldn't bring him back until you absolutely have to.
Yeah, it's amazing. The highlights are actually on NBA TV in the background right now. And watching Luke Kennard back away from Bogdanovich and then on 2 other shots, Luke Kennard just backs away from Donovan.
And that's why I say
the threes are wide open looks.
It's not a criticism of the Utah Jazz, but honestly, like a lot of these shots and a lot of the runs that they built were wide open looks. I would expect them to make those, and I think every Jazz fan would as well.
Casey Finlinson says, by playing Jazz basketball, did you mean Mitchell decided to take over? D-Wade is great for Mitchell. Well, there's a couple of things that come to mind here. I don't know that Dwayne Wade impacts Donovan Mitchell's play at all. I think it's cool and the visual's great to see, Dwayne Wade talking to Donovan Mitchell. That's great. But I think Donovan Mitchell taking over is a bit scary if you're a Jazz fan. Because if it's Donovan and everybody else, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And the reason that you won the third and fourth quarter is because you had moments for Bogdanovich. You had moments for Jordan Clarkson. But again, I'll say out of Jordan, absolutely ice cold in the first, hot in the second. He made 6 shots. They were all threes. That's a little concerning. You didn't get much out of anybody else but Donovan going to the basket.
And by the way, Clarkson's shooting percentage was right on the money. 6 out of 18, 30%.
Yeah, I mean I think that's who he is. And I just would say that's why you've got to find a way to get more touches for Rudy Gobert at the rim. I don't know how you do that because the lob was not available, and I think we pretty much knew that going into this game. We told you the lob wasn't going to be there a lot. You got real critical minutes out of Derek Favors, I thought, last night, and I hope Jazz fans don't overlook his contribution. But I think this game largely played out the way we thought it would. You saw Oni, you saw Derek Favors.
Yep.
I think you saw a lot of the mid-range. Now, they didn't go in, but you saw a lot of the mid-range opportunities for the Clippers being easy to acquire. Kawhi is not going to miss those mid-range jumpers. He's not.
Well, I don't think that I agree Kawhi's not going to miss them, but I don't think they can afford to have either of those guys missing those easy, wide-open looks.
No.
I mean, that's...
Paul George has got to play better, and I just don't know that he's capable of it. And I know that he talked about how he felt like he got himself back in the third quarter, or the fourth quarter, rather. That's great. And I understand that Paul George scored 20 points. That's all good and well.
Not good enough.
He cost them the game last night. I mean, and again, I will say, the Jazz defense played a significant part in this. But you're Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. You cannot be passing up the 3 at the end of the game.
Yeah.
You either have to create that shot or get your shot blocked, whatever that might be. You cannot pass the ball to Marcus Morris in the corner. Because with all due respect, and I think any of our Phoenix listeners will tell you, Marcus Morris is not a smart basketball player. This is not a guy that you can count on to make a decision to jump into a flying Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's not a savvy player.
It's unthinkable to me that both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard passed on that shot.
Well, and I think it goes one level deeper. I mean, that's the best you could do in a late game set. I mean, you essentially tried to play 2-man pick and roll. The Jazz switched it, and you were forced to give it up.
But didn't you get exactly what you wanted?
No, I don't think you did. I don't think you did.
I think, and take the name out of it. Take the anonymous name out of it. You got a corner 3 where you were either going to make a basket or get fouled. And they were unable to capitalize on it because it was Marcus Morris. That's where Reggie Jackson being fouled out of this game absolutely made a huge difference.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but for me, I expect better.
Wrong.
I expect better. I expect better, dude. Like, why is it This is the Don not getting the ball in the bubble last year and Mike Conley taking that shot. Why in the hell is the ball getting swung around to Morris, or it could have been Reggie or whoever? I'm paying you guys $32 million a year to pass the ball when I need a shot. And again, I just want to emphasize, just want to point this out one more time. They wouldn't have been there if they would have made the mid-range shots. We wouldn't be having this conversation if you would have handled your business in the mid-range.
I think if Kawhi Leonard had made his mid-range jumper last night, the Clippers would have won this game.
4 more mid-range out of Kawhi. There were 4 easy shots.
Gimme bunnies.
Paul had probably 5 or 6 that he just bricked. Like, those are literally, and I know this is so cliche and corny and everything, but literally the difference in this game was not Donovan's 45. Great, give him 45. He's always going to get his. It wasn't Donovan, right? It was the fact that the Clippers weren't executing. This is why I said yesterday on the show that concerns me about this team.
I don't know, man. I think they don't win without Donovan playing Superman. There's no question about that. The hard part is at the mid-range shot, and this is what I argued on Twitter last night. Those mental turnovers that led to, I think it was 17 Jazz points or whatever, those mental mistakes.
Yeah, another thing, yeah.
You know, just missing a wide open layup.
Yep.
You know, like and that leads to a 3. Turnovers to Bogdanovich in the corner. Like,
also, didn't Rudy have 5 for a good bit?
Yes, and you didn't foul Rudy Gobert out of the game.
Another mental mistake.
You know, like, so anyway, my point is, the Jazz won because Donovan Mitchell scored 45. The Jazz won because the Clippers didn't make their mid-range, right? They're not exclusive to each other. And the Jazz had one of the best defensive sets that you could have probably ever seen out of a Jazz team to end the game. That was a phenomenal defensive set. The rotations, the switches. But I'm telling you, the Clippers missed an opportunity there. You've got to jump into Rudy Gobert on that 3. There's no other way to put it. Eugene says Mitchell came through. Yes, he did. Cody Strickland says, like I said last night, Jake, the only one vetting the Jazz last night was beating the Jazz last night, I think is what you meant to say, was the Jazz. Thank God Don said that he will not lose tonight. Tanner Plummer says, gritty performance by the Jazz, but did the Jazz win this game or did the Clippers lose it? I'm not a fan of that at all.
Well, I am a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of it, and I'm happy to play villain. I think that I'm not sitting here saying the Jazz got lucky. I don't believe in luck in sports. What I believe in is the superstars in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George did not make their mid-range jumpers. And so you combine the mid-range jumper thing with the fact that you had several just really stupid turnovers, frankly,
mental mistakes
that led to Jazz buckets. You essentially gifted them a couple of threes, which you can never do. And so mid-range, turnovers, not fouling Rudy Gobert out, and then I just disagree. I don't think that they executed on the last play. We should not be swinging the ball into the corner. If anything, what we should be trying to do is creating a one-on-one matchup off of a switch for anybody.
I agree with that.
Why?
But this is not a pick-and-roll Clipper team. And that's the difference. Like the Jazz feast on pick and roll.
They do, yes.
This Clipper team feasts on the mid-range.
Yeah.
And it allows them to hit threes. And they're an elite three-point shooting team. You didn't see that last night because the mid-range wasn't going in.
Yeah.
It's as simple as I can make it. Donovan Mitchell, and I think we even said Donovan had to have a monster game or they were going to lose.
Yeah.
He had a monster game and they won.
I think that we should not, underappreciate that on any level. I mean, again, like Donovan Mitchell is now in elite company. I think that they showed a stat last night where it's him and like Michael and LeBron and like a couple other guys who have like 4 to 7 40-plus point playoff games.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the guy is crazy, So all I'm saying is I'm not discrediting Don. I mean, that's a great performance. But what I am saying is that he was not the reason. He was not the difference in the game, in my opinion. It was more about the fact that you had a lot of silly turnovers. You had a lot of not executing. And I legitimately think we can now say, covering this series, Game 2 is the game of the series. If the Clippers lose this game, this series is over. If they win this game, now we have a legit long 7-game series out of us.
And it's what we always say. I mean, the series doesn't start till a home team loses a game.
Yeah.
Nobody's beating the Jazz 4 out of 5. Sorry, man. It's not
feasible.
Eugene says, y'all said he needed 40 plus. We still need Conley. Yes, you do. Zach Shea, Jake, just hold on to your chair. I'm just going to put the camera on Jake. Jazz missed a lot of 3-point shots in the first half. Else this would have been a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said that on Twitter. You can rely on that. The fact is I've been telling you for 6-8 weeks now that you're not going to win a championship shooting a bunch of threes. I mean, that's just as simple as it is. And by the way, you missed all those threes. What should terrify you is those were wide open looks, right? And you're not going to keep getting wide open looks in this series.
And by the way, what won the game for the Jazz? Because it wasn't 3-point shooting. It was Donovan Mitchell going to the basket. That's where this game tilted. And it was a brilliant adjustment to switch into Luke Kennard and attack him and target him. And that allowed Jordan Clarkson to make threes. That allowed Bogey to have an easy look at threes. Like Donovan Mitchell getting into the paint. And I know everybody falls in love with threes on this Jazz team, but I'm telling you, the motor of this team is Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, getting into the paint and being effective scoring the basketball. It is the teardrop from Mike Conley, that runner, that fader with the right or left hand that absolutely demoralizes you. Now, those threes get the crowd lit, and that clearly changes momentum. I totally get that. And I agree. And I can't remember who said it, but on the broadcast last night, but for years, I have always said that the officials go with the crowd. When the crowd's lit and the place is on fire, they're not going to call fouls on the Jazz. They're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the home team. And that's the issue at Staples Center is you don't have a home court advantage. And I think that's ultimately at the end of the day, I think that could be the deciding factor here. And I still think this is a long series. I do think Jimmy says, are you gonna completely flip flop like usual and take the Jazz now? I think it's a long series. I think it's a 7-game series.
I love it. Let me get some examples of how he's flip flopped as usual.
I don't usually flip flop. I said yesterday I feel like the Jazz are going to sweep the Clippers and dominate them, and I still think that's going to happen.
What you want me to say to them?
I didn't say that. I actually said that this is going to be a 7-game series, and I would favor the Clippers, and I still think it's going to be a 7-game series, and I'm going to favor the Clippers.
Yeah.
We'll see. James Knight says, dissect the game how you like, Monty. It's 1-0, swings and rebounds, swings and roundabouts with the officials, right? Look, I think the Jazz got the home court advantage from the officials last night. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
Would they have blown the whistle if Marcus Morris jumps in the Rudy Gobert at the end of the game?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, Terrence, that's a good question. I think you would have.
Yeah.
Eugene 12 says Rudy the real MVP, but no one notices that last play was dope. What do you mean nobody notices that?
We've sat here and spent 10 minutes on it, guy.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that scares you is he was out of control in the air. And again, not to be redundant, even though I just said this 20 seconds ago, the best 3-point players, which just is about everybody in this league now, I guess, Paul George or Kawhi Leonard or Steph Curry or Trae Young or...
They would have recognized the opportunity coming to them before he was in the air.
They would have anticipated that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because that's what he would have done.
Morris was not mentally prepared for that moment, mainly because he's never in that moment.
He did not believe he was going to get the ball. Marcus Morris didn't want the ball in that moment.
Because he shouldn't have got the damn ball. That's what I'm telling you.
I agree.
It should have never been in his hands. And again, this is why if you're a Clipper fan, this is extremely frustrating because again, we shouldn't be in a late game moment where we're down 3 with like 4 seconds left. I mean, that just shouldn't be a reality for this Clipper team. I mean, the conversation isn't that, Rudy made this great play and everything. The conversation is, hey, 20 minutes ago when we missed all those jumpers, maybe if we'd have made all those jumpers, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Well, and I think when we're talking about Rudy, the official thing is a real problem now. And I like there was a point where they came out of the timeout and you could see the officials saying enough. I heard you. Enough is enough. And it's like you can't. It's the Western Conference semis.
Yeah.
You can't possibly complain. about every single call.
But he does because he's French, he's a Euro, and that's their style of play. They want to complain constantly.
And the thing, everybody's gonna say I rip Rudy Gobert all the time. He's soft.
He is soft, yes.
Now, did you pay him $205 million to block that shot in the corner? You did, and he did it. But I'm telling you, Rudy Gobert is soft, and if they win this series, there's a real good chance the Jazz are going to the NBA Finals, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But Rudy Gobert, you got to get more out of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I tweeted it last night.
And I hope people realize this. If we're critically diagnosing what happened to the Jazz in this game, Rudy Gobert was a non-factor for 2.5 quarters.
4 points, 10 rebounds.
A non-factor. Ivica Zubac was getting the better of Rudy Gobert. DeMarcus Cousins got the better of Rudy Gobert. And you can't, when you're getting beat like that, turning to the official for help is not probably your best play there. I mean, you have to realize who you are and where you are. You are not playing well, and the officials are not going to bail you out there. You're not Donovan Mitchell. You're not going to get bailed out by the officials.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, to me, Rudy Gobert has to be a bigger factor on offense. I don't know how you do that. I think, by the way, the other thing that I would say with Rudy, where was the pick and roll in the first half?
Non-existent.
Where did that go? Like, that was shocking to me. Now, Quinn is taking him out with 7 minutes left in the first quarter to bring in Favors. So that pick and roll goes away. When Derek Favors is in the game, this turns into a much more of a 1v1 ISO team. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. But I think that you've got to get more out of Rudy Gobert offensively. And I don't even know that that's possible. I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. Jazz Huddle says if we win game 2, all we got to do is steal one on the road. Oh, if you win, I think if you go up 2-0, this series is over.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any. Let's like you just said. I mean, I don't know that there's a team in the NBA right now who could beat the Jazz 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
I just don't see that.
Austin Parkins says still no love for Royce O'Neal. The guy's defense was excellent, especially down the stretch. He was out rebounding Rudy. Yeah, I think Royce played really well last night, and I think the little intangibles that Royce brought to that game, I mean, those things not a lot of people will talk about. But his rebounding and his, the extra swing pass, which is another thing I think that we saw the Jazz do routinely last night that had been missing. That extra pass is absolutely lethal. The extra pass to Jordan Clarkson in the corner is lethal. And I think we're seeing Royce did it once, Joe did it once. Again, I would say I still worry about Joe Ingles. I think it was 1 of 8 from 3.
Yeah.
That's concerning. Yeah. It is concerning that he was 1 of 8 from 3. Ace says, come on, Monty, Rudy Gobert is not soft. I think you just hate the guy.
No, he is soft. There's no question about it. He's the softest big out of any of the bigs in the league. This is his constant complaining to the officials and his inability to shoot a basketball is the reason he doesn't deserve to be in the MVP conversation, and why why some guy in Denver, who was the odd kid when he was growing up, and now the NBA MVP is doing what he's doing because he has been through adversity. He battles you. He knows how to play. And by the way, he can shoot a basketball. So yeah, I'm happy to be the guy on this show that says he's soft. He doesn't deserve the $205 million contract, and I can't get down with 4 points and 10 rebounds heading into the third quarter. That's not good enough.
Yep, I agree. Jeremy Bolton says Kawhi was also a non-factor that first half. Honestly, he was a non-factor the entire game. Well, if that's the case, you're screwed because you only won by 3. I mean, if you're wearing Kawhi as a non-factor as a badge of honor, you're in trouble because this is a guy that is going to put up most nights in the playoffs 30 points, and he is an elite mid-range player. I think you take the travel day out of it, I would expect a completely different Kawhi Leonard in game 2. So, again, just, not for nothing, if you're expecting him to struggle, I would tell you I don't think that's going to happen.
Dangerous game to play, friend.
Yeah. John Penrod said Joe is better with Conley. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Driftwood says Jazz played poorly overall and made the Clippers play poorly and still got the win. I think they both played poorly for large swaths of this game.
Yeah.
I mean, that the Jazz missed 21 straight jumpers, and at one point I think it was 0 of 11 from 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not who this Jazz team is. But a lot of that was when the Clippers had their legs, they were super aggressive. I mean, Marcus Morris was picking up above the three-point line.
Yeah, and by the way, can we just point out Marcus Morris has zero respect for Bogdanovich? I mean, can we just point that out? Like,
But this is another mental mistake by the LA Clippers. How do you get that technical foul if you're Marcus Morris?
Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. You're putting him on the line.
Man.
It's really stupid.
And Bogdanovich made the free throw.
Yeah.
Imagine if you don't get that technical foul, the Jazz are only up 2, not 3.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, you're not trying to get your shot blocked in the corner.
Yep.
You can attack the basket and maybe get an and one.
That's what I'm telling you. Like, this was a phenomenal game. Jazz, deserve all the credit in the world. But I think this series is got a long way to go. I think that the Clippers in Game 2 are going to come out with a big-time sense of urgency.
Yes.
And I think that they are going to be committed to stopping the Jazz on the defensive end. And what I mean is they are going to say, okay, we understand that our defense is what powers the offense. And if we stay committed and we stay disciplined to our assignments on defense, we're going to make good things happen. Because when they did step up on the pick and roll, they turned the Jazz over a couple times, and they forced some bad shots out of the Jazz. So I just think, like I said to start the show, I think both of these teams are going to come back to the middle a little bit. Yes, the Jazz are going to shoot better. They're going to make more of those shots that they missed last night.
Right.
But I also think the Clippers are going to play a much more aggressive style of defense moving forward.
And that's the word that I think you're nail on the head there. Aggression, aggressive. Getting after it, going to the basket. One of the things that was surprising is Paul George didn't go to the basket very much.
He's another player who's soft. I mean,
absolutely.
He is a guy that's 6'8", has all the handle in the world, and wants to shoot over Rudy Gobert for a contested three. Now he makes it, but he's soft.
Rudy Gobert routinely is being switched on to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and I don't remember one time that they went to the basket.
And I don't get it. Get him in foul trouble.
I mean, you're going by him. He has 4 fouls at one point, and he switched on to Paul George, and Paul George wants to pass the ball to Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard is pointing at Paul George.
Take it.
Saying, you've got Rudy on you.
Take it.
And Paul George pulls up for a 3.
And that's why I say he's soft. He's soft.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ricky Martinez. By the way, Ricky, you're pretty sharp, dude. I know that you've been here for a while, but Ricky, you're usually pretty on point, by the way. He says Rudy will be more involved with Conley back. Oh, that's a great point. Conley and Rudy have that lob chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And the dangerous part, if you're a Clipper supporter, the dangerous part is that when Conley gets into the paint, you know that runner, that floater is really effective. So you really have to go to him, which creates that gap for Rudy to catch and throw the lob down. But it's kind of sad. We're paying him $205 million, and we need someone to make him more involved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Again, it's not his fault that he got paid. Let's not blame him. But what are we doing? I mean, why are we giving hundreds of millions of dollars to this guy? I mean, that's insane to me.
Gavin Dale, good morning to you, says, I'm more concerned about Joe's timing being off in the pick and roll. He kept putting Rudy in awful situations with the ball. Yet, there's just something off about Joe Ingles. I don't know what that is.
He needs to not have on-ball responsibility. That's the issue.
When Joe Ingles starts, these are the kind of nights that he's been having. And he's such an important part of the offense because he's the guy that makes the demoralizing three. Right? He's the guy who the ball gets reversed or there's a skip pass across the court and he catches it and just nails that three that just pisses you off.
Yeah.
But he was 1 of 8 last night. And it wasn't close. It's not like they were rattling in and out like Donovan Mitchell with those first 2 that were out, back in, rolled around the rim and went in. Mm-hmm. Oh, unbelievable. Joe's not getting that role right now.
Yeah.
And it is, Gavin, that's a great point. That's really concerning. Ricky Martinez, comment dump. Ricky Martinez says, how is not being able to shoot, how does that make a player soft? It's not his shooting that makes Rudy Gobert soft. He isn't a guy that is, when you get physical contact or you get physical with Rudy Gobert, he struggles. It's
a
why
mentality issue.
It's why Joe was so able to get him in Philly. It's why, when you look at the guys that are attacking Rudy Gobert, they're getting into his hip and his chest. And you're right. I think it is a mentality thing. Yeah. Rudy Gobert doesn't want to kick your ass. He tells you, "Hey, I'm going to kick your ass."
Yeah, he talks a big game, but he doesn't come through. And I think that this Jazz team could really benefit from, like, again, not to compare Rudy to the best bigs in the league, but I feel like that's the level he wants to be compared to. Joel Embiid wants to kill you. Joel Embiid wants to say, "Get the hell out of here. I'm better than you." I mean, we saw that when he played Rudy. He dominated Rudy. I mean, you're talking about 40 points and almost 25 rebounds, dude.
Who are the most dominant centers we've seen? I mean, obviously, the most dominant center I've ever seen is Shaquille O'Neal. Mm-hmm. Rudy's nowhere near that.
No.
But if you look at
Tim
guys,
Duncan,
Tim was more of a 4. David Robinson, who you probably never saw play, but David Robinson was Tim Duncan's running mate. But he could shoot. Like the issue with Rudy not being able to shoot is it turns him into a one-trick pony. Mm-hmm. Like that offensive foul he got on the baseline is a great example of this. Rudy Gobert knows he needs to dunk the ball. So he's pinned on the baseline, and he throws that elbow into the rib cage of, I think it was Cousins.
I think, yeah.
Throws that elbow into Cousins to wrap around him. It's an offensive foul.
Every time.
Because he has no footwork, and he has no ability to get to the rim, because he's not a guy that's just going to power up over 2 dudes and dunk on you.
But you would think that he'd be able to do that with his size, but he just doesn't, dude.
He can. He doesn't. And that it's not a matter of skill for Rudy Gobert. It's what is he as a player. Inside of you, Rudy Gobert can kick anybody's ass. He's as physical as anybody. Elbows, knees, shoulders. He's got everything you want. But yet you know that if you're the LA Clippers, he can be dealt with.
Yeah.
You know that if Rudy Gobert is only going to put up 10 points, 12 boards, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose games. It's that simple. And I just feel like it's very clear to me that he is what you need offensively. You can't miss 21 straight points or shots and just keep shooting.
Yeah.
You need somebody to dunk. You need somebody to hit an elbow jumper. You need somebody.
And instead of that being Rudy, that's Don.
And the other thing is, by the way, I don't think you can rely on Donovan Mitchell to score 40 points.
No, they won't. Night. They won't permit that. They will not allow that.
If he doesn't score 45 last night, they lose. It is that simple, and that's what worries you as a Jazz observer. Jose Luis BG says the Jazz will hardly shoot as bad as last night. I see your point on the Clips not making their jump shots, but the Jazz were a joke of a shooting team the first quarter and came back. Well, the second quarter was abysmal. I think the third quarter, but it wasn't the Jazz who came back in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. Donovan Mitchell willed himself to that performance in the third quarter. I mean, the guy is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
I mean, you're watching a superstar blossom right before your eyes. It is incredible. It is this. I can't tell you how special this performance was last night. Like, I don't know that there are words to describe just how difficult it is to do what Donovan Mitchell's doing. And to physically, mentally, the whole package, to deliver that in a game where you probably should, the Jazz, by all right, probably should have lost that game. He single-handedly took them to that win. He made it possible for Jordan Clarkson to be that open in the corner to hit that three. Like, I cannot say enough about how special and how dynamic and what a star that Donovan Mitchell is turning into.
Are you slurping Donovan Mitchell right now?
No, I'm appreciating Donovan Mitchell. Okay. And I hope people understand just how much you need to appreciate him.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to blink and we're a year later, we haven't won a championship, and you forget about the 45-point night in game 1 against the Clippers. Mm-hmm. Or, he's not the same guy that was left laying on the floor in the bubble. That much, I think, is very clear. James Knight says, Gobert is soft, you're right, but he still starts on every roster in the NBA with the exception of Denver. I totally disagree.
He doesn't start on Philly. He doesn't start on Denver. he would struggle to start.
He doesn't start for the Lakers.
Yeah, he doesn't
Anthony
start
Davis
for the Lakers.
Is a better player. Joel Embiid's a better player.
Yeah.
Does he start on most rosters? Yes, but I don't know how many teams are giving him $205 million because this is an offensive league now.
Yeah.
And does he change shots? Yes. Does he block shots? Yes. Does he rebound? Yes. That's not the $200 million player in the 2021 NBA
setup.
It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not. So I'm not saying that Rudy Gobert's a bad player.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that. He's soft. He can be had physically. He is in crunch time. I mean, we saw in the first half they were playing 4-on-5. And Jake and I were watching the game together, and I mean, it was as clear as day. The Jazz were offensively playing 4-on-5.
And they do it all the time.
And they do. Yeah. It's just not – I'm not telling you, and again, I want to make sure that we get this because – excuse me. Because I think a lot of people, say that we're haters or whatever it is. This is the show where you get the truth about whatever team you want to ask us about. The truth about the Utah Jazz are that they're an elite basketball team who's learning how to win on the fly. And they happen to have who I think is the best coach in the NBA right now. They happen to have, I think, who is arguably the best player left in the playoffs in Donovan Mitchell. He's playing. Do you realize he's outperforming Kevin Durant at this point? That's how good Donovan Mitchell was last night. Now, Kevin Durant, I think, is probably a better all-around player than Donovan is.
Don is averaging more points per game. I mean, that's what's fine to say that.
Donovan's on that level.
Yeah.
The point is that Rudy Gobert is not giving you much offensively. And you cannot offensively play 4-on-5 in this league. It's why Pat Beverly's not playing for the Clippers, because he puts the ball through the backboard, not in the hoop. You cannot be a liability offensively and expect to play consistent minutes. At some point, you're going to have to realize that that's an issue for this Jazz team. At some point, maybe not at this moment. Fat Jesus says, marry one, F one, kill one. Mitchell, Booker, and Gobert. Well, I'm going to marry Donovan Mitchell.
Marry one, kill one. Go.
I'm going to marry... Well, no, I'm going to marry Devin Booker.
Avi.
Okay, I'm just going to move on. Rudy's pretty soft with the ball, Romero says. Every time he has to move with the ball in traffic, defense just puts one hand in and it's loose. Yeah.
See DeMarcus Cousins.
Yes. Jackson says he starts for the Lakers and Davis plays power forward. You can't have two 7-footers on the floor, no matter how fluid Anthony Davis is. We've seen this with Drummond. It just does not work.
Yeah, it's just not.
It clogs the paint. Is Rudy a great secondary option at center for a team that's got Anthony Davis? Yes, he is. There's no doubt about that. Cody Strickland says crowd shouting overrated was spot on. Best stadium to play in, colorful and cheers. Yeah, I think Vivint is the best home court advantage in the NBA. It's not.
Been saying that.
Yeah, I'll say it 1,000 times. It's not close. Brylark says the same complaint that we have about Rudy's contract, people will have about Ben Simmons when he signs his. Oh, no doubt. But the difference is...
Yeah, this is going to piss you off, dude.
Offensively, here's the difference. Ben Simmons can create his own shot. And that shot very likely is a layup or a dunk. But Ben Simmons is not a guy who has to be within 3 feet to score.
Ben Simmons is a more complete player on both sides of the floor. He is a better defender than Rudy Gobert is.
He can defend all 5 positions.
All 5 positions, anybody, anywhere, he can defend them, okay? And by the way, he can also run point for your team. He can also facilitate for your team. I mean, Ben Simmons is to me, this isn't even a discussion. Ben Simmons is a better player than Rudy Gobert is, and there's nothing again. I feel like this always turns into, oh well, Rudy sucks. That's not even what we're saying. What we're saying is that he is a one-sided player that forces you to play 4-on-5 on offense, and that at some point will come back to get you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button on this very program. Please give us a thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. We really appreciate everybody that's here. We appreciate you watching. If you are not a subscriber on this channel, please do so. Obviously, we're actively growing our following. I was looking at numbers yesterday. We went from 317 to 1,000 in 4 weeks and 3 days.
How is that even possible?
I have no idea. That's unbelievable. We really appreciate you guys being here. Please, right now, smash that thumbs up button and give us a subscribe if you haven't. not leaving the Jazz, but I do want to get into Suns and Devin Booker, national stage tonight. Can he replicate the performance that Donovan put up?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you
100%.
expect him to?
Yeah, I do expect him to. And it's not. It's solely based on the fact that this guy is vying to be just the same way Donovan Mitchell, you said, is blossoming into a superstar. Devin Booker's in the same position. We have this conversation all the time, and it's time for Devin Booker to do it again. You know, I need the Devin Booker of the Lakers series to come out tonight. I need that, and I think the Suns are, that home court advantage is real. I felt like the Suns battled Denver for the first three quarters and then just put them away, late in the third, early in the fourth. And I think that as this series wears on, Devin Booker's contribution is going to continue to have to be at a high level. So, yeah, like 30 points, 8 dimes, if he's going to go insane, maybe 10 boards, but he'd have to really go crazy. But at a minimum, I'd like to see 30-plus out of him.
And I think the Suns are just more dynamic offensively in that you have – I mean, you saw what you got out of Mikal Bridges the other night.
He's the guy. He's the guy. Again, we talk about the Jazz and the supporting cast. For the Suns, Mikal Bridges is the guy. If he's making his threes, they're going to be extremely difficult to beat.
The interesting guy on the Suns for me, 3-point-wise, is Jay Crowder. Because this is a guy, Jazz fans, I don't have to tell you this, but I don't know that Jay Crowder ever made a three while wearing a Jazz uniform. He did. I'm being a dick. But anyway, the point is, Jay Crowder's a guy that if you're counting on him, I think you're in trouble. I think when you're pleasantly surprised by his input and performance, you're in exactly where you want to be. And I think that's where the Suns are. The Suns are not counting on Jay Crowder to be a significant contributor or to shoot the three at a high level. What they're counting on Jay Crowder to do is pick up 3-4 fouls, elbow some guys, shoulder some guys, rebound the ball, distribute, occasionally bring it up. And, hey, if you're open from three, go ahead and knock that down. And I think that's exactly what he gives you. I think Chris Paul, by all accounts, Chris Paul is a little bit better every day until somebody lands on his shoulder again or he gets hit. So he's improving, and you're seeing that he's able now to actually shoot the three-pointer and he's still passing on those with his shoulder. But he could not extend that arm fully late in that Lakers series, and now you're seeing his ability to extend that arm fully and get that finish, and the three ball's starting to go in. And I think that's what makes Devin Booker a better player. This is akin to, Bogdanovich and Jordan Clarkson for Donovan Mitchell. That's what you need out of Bridges. You need Chris Paul. You need DeAndre Ayton to catch the ball. By the way, I thought it was interesting, not saying nothing, listening to a national radio guy, the schmurd, yesterday, talking about how, look, DeAndre Ayton doesn't catch the ball well. He doesn't catch the ball well. Well, what did he do the other night? He caught the ball well. And what happened? He had a huge game.
Posterizing guys.
He ran because I think, and this is what I would love to see out of Rudy Gobert. Just run from one rim to the other rim.
Right.
Just go one rim to the other. That's all you have to do. That's it. And if Rudy Gobert will commit to doing that, he's a much better offensive player. DeAndre Ayton simplified the process. And I think we saw the fruits of that simplification. And I think that's why I would expect the Suns to go up 2-0 here.
Yeah.
I really, frankly, with everything I've said about the Clippers taking this deep, I would love to see Utah and Phoenix in the Western Conference Finals.
We said that last week before this series was even here. That's what we as basketball fans deserve.
I am here for that all day long.
Yeah.
No doubt. Cody Strickland says Jay, is still my man. Maybe not the best three, but he has love for his team. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Austin Parkin, hello. Austin Parkin says, I think you're only counting on Crowder to salsa dance at the opponent's bench. Yeah, exactly right. Brylark said, this team is built around Gobert, and that's why he shines on this team. Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yep, on the pocketbook and on the floor.
No doubt. Why do I keep reading the comments? Says the Warriors would pay $205 million for. Oh, Rudy would be a great fit on the Warriors because you would never need him to do anything but rebound and block shots. And I think that's a great point. Why do I keep reading the comments? That's a great point. That's a great name, by the way. Why do I keep reading the comments? Gavin Dale says Jay hit a couple of threes, then thinks he's Steph Curry. That's I agree with that 100%. Jay Crowder, and a lot of guys.
Jordan Clarkson.
They fall in love with the three when it goes in.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I fall in love with the three when I'm at Vaza Fitness knocking it down. I mean, what do you want? I mean, it's going in.
Yeah. Eric Nick says Clarkson needs to make his shot more. Cheese and rice.
Yeah.
Driftwood says, I hate Denver. I hope they never win another game again, ever, including preseason in their G League team.
Okay.
Noted. I'm not the biggest fan of Denver either. By the way, Jokic winning the MVP, well deserved.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. How does Derrick Rose get a vote? It's the fan vote. We get it.
You don't understand the Derrick Rose thing. It's just it is a.
Is it a nod? Is it?
Yes, it's a nod. It's a tip of the cap. It's a hey, hell of a season, Derek. Like you're in New York. You're doing nice things.
Well, you know what it is for me. It's hey, blow me. Julius Randle was the MVP of that Knicks team. That's what it was. Yeah. How do you not give Julius Randle a single vote?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel
because he got most improved player.
My God. I mean, he deserved. Anyway, you deserve what you.
For such a smart person, you really are lost, aren't you?
I am. I'm not. Ask Jazz fans. I'm dumb and I don't know the NBA. I don't watch it at all, ever. But I'm telling you, Julius Randle's going to be a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to be a beast. By the way, there was an interesting question last night asked. If you're the Clippers right now today, and you could unload Paul George after game 1 of this series, would you do it?
Is that a real question?
Yes,
I would do it
too.
Yes, yes.
I just don't think Paul George is a big game player.
He's not a winner. He is not a winner. Simple as that, dude. He's not a winner.
Christopher Thompson says Rudy blocked 3 shots, but how many did he change or interrupt? 80. Great.
Yeah, and everybody loves to live on that narrative, and at the end of the day, cool, man. Like he affected shots. Okay, great, dude. Awesome. I'm not here for affected shots. I'm here for rebounds. I'm here for 20 boards, and I'm here for 12 points. That's what I want. That's what I want every single night.
By the way, real quick, speaking of pissing off Jazz fans.
Yeah.
Do Jazz fans like Karl Malone?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Is that a real question?
Yes, this is a real question, Kevin.
Oh, boy.
Do you like Karl Malone? Karl Malone was in the house, in the seats. Hey, look at me. I'm by my statue. Has anybody seen my illegitimate children?
Ooh.
Where are they? Are they in the stands?
Yeah.
I'm not a Karl Malone fan. I don't fanboy over him the way a lot of Jazz fans do. Karl was a great player. I mean, really good. I do think his personal life matters. And this was a huge topic of discussion here in Salt Lake on the radio yesterday. I think his personal life matters. And I am not the guy that's enamored with, oh, look, it's Karl Malone, the mailman. Remember what he did to Isaiah Thomas's face? I just think his personal life is a wreck. And I think he's a weird guy. And I think it's unforgivable he went to the Lakers. Unforgivable that he went to the Lakers. And karma bit you right in that D. You know what I'm saying?
You're so fucked.
Karl didn't win a ring. And I don't understand how Jazz fans don't blame him. That's the guy I'd be looking at like.
Because it's Stockton and Malone. Come on.
Yeah.
The best ever.
Austin Parkin says, Stockton was my favorite player as a kid. I like Malone, but it's hard to overlook his personal life now. That's right. Jordan Crabtree says, as a b-ball player, yes. As a person, meh. Kenny says, terrible human, yes. Driftwood says, more of a Stockton guy myself. Don Pat Rye says, Stockton was one of the important reasons for Karl's success on the court, yes. Jeremy Bolton says, same sentiments as everyone. Dude is arguably the best power forward of all time, but can't overlook his past.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't understand.
Yep.
Like, I don't think he fits in our community at all. Cool, you own a car dealership. I just don't think it's odd to me to see him sitting in the seats and everybody's like, oh, Karl. Oh, Karl. Okay, cool. Cool, man.
Neat.
We're stocked, man. Give me Stockton Honda, man.
And that's the issue.
We're stocked in
right?
it.
That's the issue. John, I don't feel like is really out there that much. He very much lives a private life.
Yeah. Jordan Crabtree. Come on now. Kobe's wife hated him.
Wow.
Well, Carl,
Wow.
you know this story about Kobe and Carl's wife?
Oh, man. Go ahead and tell it.
Carl wanted to hit that.
Don't you know who I am?
I'm Carl Malone. Let me deliver the D. Like the mailman wanted to deliver the D to Kobe's wife. Saying parcel post. You know what I'm saying? That did not go over well. Austin Parkins says, unforgivable. Stockton had retired. We understood he had no chance at a ring. You don't go to the...
Dude, you're
don't go
a
to the
jazz
Lakers.
man and you went to the Lakers.
You don't go
Who
to the
are
Lakers.
you, bro?
Go to the Pistons. Go to whoever the best team in
Who
the
the hell
East is.
are you?
You don't go to the Lakers, you sellout.
My fucking ass.
Yeah, you don't do that. you just don't.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it.
Right? I mean, eBay the Sofa Server says, Charles Barkley is the greatest power forward ever.
Here we go. No. We don't have time to go into greatest power forward ever.
There's a little guy who wore the silver and black in San Antonio, number 21.
Oh.
Best power forward ever.
Ooh.
Mike Phillips says, if you had an issue with the NBA players who had illegitimate kids, the league got very small for you.
Kevin. Where's Kevin?
Wow. Vision Gaming says, hey, boys, sorry I'm late. I've warned you about this,
you're
Vision.
53 minutes late.
Vision Gaming, I've warned you about this. Your tardiness will not be accepted.
Yeah.
He also says, good game for the Jazz, nearly as good as the Suns. We'll find out. Christopher Thompson says, no, Barkley is not. No, he's not. I put Duncan number 1, maybe Malone number 2. No. What about LeBron James?
Bro, this isn't even a discussion.
Yeah, we should stop. Don't. Duncan for sure number 1 without a doubt. Carl number 2. Fat Jesus says, isn't Jake illegitimate? No, Jake is not illegitimate.
Well, I mean, no. Nope.
How is Jake illegitimate? He's not. I made an honest woman out there, ho.
Okay.
God bless.
Okay. Okay.
I'll stop.
Wow.
Give me a rack attack, Jake.
Wow.
The rack attack!
Wow. Dude.
Oh, that's funny. LOL, I'm on UK time, says Vision Gaming. Go Chelsea.
Woo.
Tanner Plummer says, is Stockton overrated? No, Stockton was
not overrated.
Far underrated.
Yeah.
Far underrated. I think John Stockton should be in the conversation of best point guards ever. And he, I think he, by the way, I think if I polled 25-year-olds, how many of them would know John Stockton was on the Dream Team? Do you know what the Dream Team is?
Yes.
You don't. LeBron is like a point forward. Hard to compare him to a classic power forward. I would agree with that.
Well, it's hard to compare a guy who's never won anything to a guy who actually won something. So, it's fine. It's fine.
Wow.
It's fine.
Okay. Can we talk about Canes?
Yes.
Ow!
All right, we're going to move on here.
I just kicked the hell out of the table. Oh, my God. Man, that hurt. Oh, that's going to leave
man.
a mark. Canes, the Chicken Shack.
My favorite food is chicken tendies and fries.
Well, you can get them at Canes, fat ass. Canes is opening in South Jordan.
Is open.
Is it open already?
Yeah.
I thought they were. Okay, great. Canes is open in South Jordan, right
Yeah.
off of Bangerter Highway.
Bangerter.
Right off of Bangerter Highway.
Yeah.
The lines are down the street. Yesterday, you could not get in and out of that parking lot for hours. It's on 114th, right at Bangerter. Why? This is the only question I have.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What is our obsession in this country with fried food?
Specifically fried chicken.
I don't understand this.
Yeah.
I don't understand the Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Which was trash.
Okay.
Uh-oh. What?
You say stupid stuff.
Popeye's chicken sandwich was awful.
You tried it one time in the hood.
It was awful.
We were in a terrible neighborhood.
Who cares?
Okay. Look, I'm just telling you.
Do we need to do a video for the channel on trying chicken sandwiches or something? I mean, this is getting out of hand now. I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
like,
but you're also the guy who
Here we
says,
go.
"Oh, well, if I'm doing chicken sandwiches, we're going to Chick-fil-A." I'm a guy of simple tastes. Give me some Chick-fil-A and fry sauce. And I'm just like, dude, Chick-fil-A is not good chicken sandwiches.
okay, what's good chicken sandwiches?
Shake Shack.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's a good chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
It's not Cane's. It's not, chicken tendies and fries.
Let's consult the douche meter.
Like, I'm an idiot. So, first of all, what is our obsession with fried food in this country?
It's easy. It's fast. It tastes good.
I guess.
I mean, I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah. I just don't know.
Can I get a quick take in the comments about what the best chicken sandwich on the market is right now? Because now you've got the newcomers too, right? You've got McDonald's, you've got Burger King.
Okay, those are not chicken sandwiches.
Well, I'm just asking. Do people think that those are chicken sandwiches or not? I don't know.
Burger
I'm just
King,
asking.
by
dude.
the way.
It's
Burger
the King, by the way. Thank you.
The chicken.
You're welcome.
God Lord. Don't forget about Taco Bell, who's got like that chicken taco thing. It's a bun, mayo, chicken, pickle, lettuce. I literally mute that commercial every single time. The best chicken sandwich, in my opinion, is Shake Shack.
It's a good poll. I
Number
don't know that I disagree.
is Popeyes.
No.
Yes, it
Dude,
is.
stop.
Listen,
Bro.
Linda, listen.
Oh shit! Damn, I am tripping.
Listen to me. I'm fat. I know food. I'm telling you. And I've only had one or two Popeyes chicken sandwiches ever. They were really good. I'm also telling you that Burger King and McDonald's are not fast food, are not chicken sandwiches. They're grease fast food terrible. Okay? If I really, really need a chicken sandwich and I want something good, I really think it's Shake Shack and everything else. Chicken tenders, it's Wingstop, without a question.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to Cane's.
My favorite food is chicken tendies and fries.
Yeah, now the problem at Wingstop is their fries suck.
Yeah. But their ranch is phenomenal,
They're
dude.
best ranch in the business.
Bro.
I am not going to Cane's ever. I will not eat there. It really is just bad chicken that's fried deep with a bunch of breading on it.
But then how do you say that Popeyes is better then? I mean,
Because Popeyes, I'm a breast man, okay?
I doubt that.
No, I'm a breast man. I like a good rack attack. At Popeyes, you get like an actual juicy chicken breast thing.
The rack attack!
It's, it's flavorful. It's
supple.
spiced well. It's soft. It's supple. I want to wrap. No, I'm going to stop.
The rack attack!
The point is, Popeyes has a good piece of chicken. These other guys, it's like frozen, like thin. Like if I wanted the chicken patty thing, I'd go to Costco and buy a bag.
right. A big.
Like it's Shake Shack or Popeyes. Let's not get.
But I feel like even Shake Shack is on a different level than Popeyes, though. Popeyes is still fast food.
All right, best chicken sandwiches from your mom, Giggity says. Look, I don't disagree. Luca's mom has incredible breast meat.
That's every day.
Okay, I'll stop. Jackson says Popeyes is the best value, pretty bird best tasting. Carl's Jr. is actually good taste like Popeyes, but don't have spicy.
I'm not a Carl's Jr.
I'm not a
guy
Carl's
at all.
guy.
I haven't been in a long time.
I'm not at all. Ricky Martinez says Cane's is overrated and gets Cane's is overrated and gets carried away with sauce. Agree. John Penrod says Popeyes is straight soybean oil flavor, stale mayo.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. It's not my jam.
Well, we're gonna have to go and maybe revisit that. Why do I keep reading the comments? Says Chick-fil-A hands down.
See, that's where for fast food drive-through, I'm a Chick-fil-A guy.
Their waffle fries are.
I like their waffle fries actually, and their sauce is bomb. Chick-fil-A sauce, bomb, dude.
Bro, those fries are terrible. Come on. And
that's the thing with Shake Shack. Shake Shack has a strong overall total package.
Their milkshake is better.
Yeah.
Their fries are better.
Yeah.
Like
I love crinkle cut fries, man.
Here's the thing, though. Like, Cane's is right next to a place called Warren's.
Warren's has good fries.
Shakes and fries. Now, nobody does it better than Hires with shakes and fries.
Yeah.
The Big H is amazing.
Yeah.
But they're not near me. Warren's French fries are the best fries in South Jordan.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm never going to Cane's. It ain't happening. Casey Finland says the new KFC sandwich is really good.
Really?
Okay.
I haven't had KFC in a long time.
Jackson says I've never been to Wingstop and not had diarrhea right after. I would probably go to see a lower GI doctor for that. I mean, Jackson says TMI. Yeah.
This is a tasty burger.
We don't need to know about your butt shakes. We really don't. Gavin Dale says Chubby's is the best chicken sandwich. There's only 3 locations, though. Never heard of it. Jeremy Bolton says Mike James eats at Shake Shack. He does. And we hold hands under the table.
Razzle dazzle.
Sophia Eugenia says Chick-fil-A all the way. Cody Strickland says here comes the Canes lawsuit. Could be.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I keep reading the comments? Says the garlic parmesan from Wingstop are the best damn wings I've ever had.
Wingstops? Dude, that's all they do. I mean, obviously it's their name, right?
Anyway.
Okay, you did not just do that.
Hopefully
and he will every single time.
Brylark says Chick-fil-A fries are elite. Oh, they're terrible.
See, you're
Stop
on an
it.
island with that. I'm with the Chick-fil-A gang.
Those waffle cut fries
bomb,
at Chick-fil-A.
dude. When you get them fresh, bomb.
Oh. Austin Parkin says there's nothing, quote, fast about Chick-fil-A fast food. The locations near me will have car looped around the building 2 layers deep, despite how efficient they process orders. Yeah,
They really are efficient with it, though. For how much they do, they're really efficient.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. You're upset about this drug that makes fat people thin.
Right. Yeah. That sounds horrible, doesn't it?
You're horrible.
Yeah, I know. I'm a terrible person. I get it. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You kick puppies.
Right. Anyway, point is, I just think it's messed up that we have to have. We're putting a drug on the market, and the name is slipping off my head right now. But we're putting
or whatever.
whatever it's called. There's a drug on the market now that the FDA just approved that basically makes it so that you don't get hungry. That's essentially, in simple terms, what it does. And I'm just simply sitting here saying, man, this whole our country, man, really is a mess when it comes to food. Like, I love to eat just as much as anybody, but man, we gotta figure out like staying healthy, because there are a lot of people who just don't get it.
Well, as somebody who I've battled my weight since my 30s, and what I would tell you is that easy food is bad food. And, being in a lot better shape now, having trimmed up a little bit, I work out 6 days a week, we play basketball, like, the lifestyle is the problem. And for me, I know, when I gain weight, it's because I go to places like Cane's or I take the easy way out. When we don't eat out, life is much better. Like last night, I felt like it was Taco Tuesday. We had tacos last night and we watched the ball game.
Yeah.
You can't be eating tacos at 7:00 at night. I do. For me, I'm regimented. So I take, I have a Optimum Nutrition BCAAs in the morning. I take a vitamin regimen. Like, I'm very regimented. I take vitamins right when I wake up, right before I go to bed. I take them, like I drink my BCAAs. I work out every day at lunch, and I don't eat after 4:00. I lose weight. I'm trimmer. I'm in better shape. I sleep better. I drink better. Everything's great. When I'm drinking three of these a day, when I'm drinking 60 ounces of water, I feel better. The problem is it's easy to roll into a drive-through and, hey, man, let me get a chicken sandwich, some fries. How about a peanut butter shake on top of that?
Yeah.
And that's when you really get in trouble. I can tell you we're going to Vegas. Don't forget, we'll be off on Friday. But we're going to Las Vegas Thursday, Friday, coming back Saturday.
It's really unfair.
And you know what? I've learned that you can't just go to Vegas and, plunder yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a lifestyle change that has to happen. And when you talk about this drug, like, I'm not a guy that takes drugs. Thankfully, I don't take any medication at all.
What's the difference between vitamins and drugs?
Well, I mean, most drugs have an adverse side effect on your body, like this fat drug that they're talking about. is a hormone that makes you feel full. It changes the chemical makeup of your brain
Yeah.
by changing the enzymes and essentially the makeup of your stomach. Vitamins don't do that. Like all the vitamins I take, like I take plant sterols, I take CoQ10, I take vitamin D, magnesium so that I can run the flagpole, like all that stuff. Like I take a very targeted vitamin regimen. So I don't have cholesterol issues, I don't have blood pressure issues, I don't have heart issues, I don't have circulatory issues, like none of that. A lot of that is that, Saturday and Sunday we played hour and a half, 2 hours of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So you get intense cardio. We weight train 5 days a week. Like you have to do these things. Instead of going to Chick-fil-A, go to the gym.
Yeah.
Instead of going to Chick-fil-A, don't eat dinner.
Yeah.
Drink water. Like drink a shake. Like God bless Ghost Protein.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And to me, it's really easy in this country to get a value menu item instead of going to Harmon's and spending $50 to cook a healthy meal.
$50 at Harmon's will get you food for the week.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly.
I mean, if you're one single guy, it will.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. If you have 2-3 kids, you got a wife, and you go to Harmon's to feed your let's call it 3 kids. We're in Utah. Let's call it 7 kids. I kid. Let's say you have 3 kids. You and your wife. There's 5 of you in the house.
Mm-hmm.
$50 probably feeds you for a couple of days at Harmon's.
Yeah.
When you're talking about, the bigger issue, a lot of people joke about soda. I haven't had soda. We figured it out the other day.
Yeah.
I haven't had soda since 2012.
In the Bay Area.
Yeah. And it was at McCovey's Sports Bar.
Yes.
Was the last time I drank a soda in 2012. I don't drink soda. I drink water. I drink Monster Energy. Or some kind of like BCAAs from Optimum Nutrition. I don't miss soda. Yeah. Soda, I figured out a long time ago, soda is really bad for you. Diet or regular, it's really bad for you. Like I'm also a big proponent, not that anybody gives a hell about this, but I'm also a big proponent in not drinking calories.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that you can, hey, you know what? I'm a whiskey drinker. I am going to have probably 3 Dreamberry martinis at Mastro's tomorrow night. Like, I will drink occasionally. I do not drink on the regular.
Yeah.
I may have a drink or 2 a month, maybe. I am not a beer drinker.
Yeah.
It's just not who I've ever been.
Right.
So I just think it's very interesting that in this country we drink our calories.
A lot.
And you can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. We need to start doing more cracks so we can be more active and not as hungry. I didn't know shakes were packed with at least 1,500 calories until like last week.
Yeah, dude.
Do you this is too deep now, but do you realize how terrible dairy is for you?
It's brutal.
Like, I don't eat a lot of dairy at all. At all. I don't eat a lot of dairy.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll have a shake and it upsets my stomach. Or, like, the reason I've stopped ordering pizza from the Pie is because there's so much cheese on their pizza.
Yeah.
And we've said, hey, can you put light cheese? And their light cheese is like triple cheese.
Yeah.
So now I've figured out that, hey, if I get a pizza at Harmon's, I can at least have pizza and not feel like I got hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's a big deal.
Don't look at your calories.
Yeah.
Fat Jesus says, government just trying to make us skinny. I have the right to be fat. It sounds funny when you brag about not drinking soda, but you drink Monster. Horrible as well. Well, the difference is I drink Monster Ultra. Zero Ultra. So it has 0 sugar. It's got 0 carbs. Like, I'm very much aware. Like, I think added sugar is one of the things that kills a lot of Americans.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of studies on it.
I really try not to do that. It's one of those things. Monty, do you watch your carbs? I do. I try to eat all of my carbs before, and I stopped trying to eat carbs at lunch. So, like, I'll go work out, I'll come home, I'll have salad dressing, and usually a protein on that salad, and that'll be the end of my carbs for the night, unless it's Taco Tuesday and we eat tacos. I probably eat dinner once or twice a week, including the weekends.
Yeah.
That's usually it. Saturday night and usually once during the week. Coke Zero has none of that either. It's all crap. Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Any soda product, I think, is going to be, any carbonation is not good for you. One of the reasons I'm experimenting with this Optimum Nutrition energy drink is it is not carbonated. It's got no sugar in it, and it's got BCAAs in it. which is what I need more of. I'm never going to say that energy drinks are good for you. I drink the one I drink because of the research that says it's not as terrible as the others.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Unpopular opinion, the pie is overrated. I would agree, Gavin. I think
Agreed.
it is.
Yeah.
You know what disappointed me the last time we had the pie? Their wings were not very good.
Uh-huh.
I just don't. It's too much cheese, man. And pizzas. By the way, I don't know how many people know this. Pizza is one of the worst things you can eat. I mean, it is. Pizza is terrible for you. It does look like you've lost a little weight. What are you doing? I'm not doing anything. Honest to goodness.
Okay, well, that's not true.
No, I'm serious. Like I'm not doing anything extravagant. I don't take any weight loss supplements.
You're going to the gym, dude. It's really simple.
It's working out.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude.
it is working out, and it's not eating at night. That's honest to God. That's what it is.
If you just like one of the easiest things you can implement to try to cut weight in a slow but controlled fashion is stop eating at 4:00. Get your food in earlier in the day, and what happens is you start implementing this concept called intermittent fasting, where you stop intaking food at like 4-ish o'clock, and then you don't eat again till breakfast the next day. And it actually is not difficult to do if we're being really honest about it. You essentially just have to make it through that 3-hour window where your brain is like, okay, it's dinner time, but you're not actually hungry. If you really just stop and take a second.
It's a habit.
It's a habit. It's not an actual hunger. If you stop and just take a second, you're like, wait, am I actually hungry right now?
Yeah, I usually try not to eat after 3 or 4 o'clock. I might have a protein bar. That's my crutch at night. If I'm hungry, like I have protein bars that I eat. I will eat a protein bar, but I will not do that after work.
Yeah.
So my goal is stop eating at 4 and then don't eat breakfast until 9 o'clock the next day. And then go work out. I try to get weight for 30 minutes every day, basketball for 2 hours on the weekends. It's a formula that works for me. Am I thin? No, I'm not thin. But I am. The thing that I care about more is I try not to weigh myself because I really don't care about the number. I care about my overall health.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I care about.
Yeah.
The funny thing is we were playing basketball this weekend. This guy's like, how old are you? I'm like 48. And he's like, no, you're not. Wow. Thankfully, I play a little younger than I am.
Right.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
actually played well. Brendan W. says, dairy, bovine pustule secretions. Why anybody wants to consume it. Yeah, I agree. Dairy's not great for you. You can even pick up a slice from the pie without everything falling off of it. Truth. Swole Monty is the best, Monty Brylark says. True. What do you guys do at the gym? I thought you had a Peloton. Wow, that's a long-time listener. I have it literally 3 feet in front of me. There's a Peloton, or probably 10 feet in front of me. There's a Peloton, and we have a Bowflex as well. And the Bowflex is great. My wife uses the Bowflex every day. It's a great workout. I am a free weight guy.
Nothing will replicate free weights.
Nothing. You can get a great workout on a Bowflex, and I think you should, if you have the means to own a Bowflex, please do, because I think they're great. But I also wish that I owned a set of dumbbells, because there's nothing better than, we work out every day. The other day we had chest soreness because we changed up the way we work out chest. I can't get that on a Bowflex. That's what I would say. The faster you eat junk food, it goes through you faster, so you won't gain weight. Scientific, true fact. Okay, let me write that down. Tanner Plummer says, hey, is eating a small breakfast good for you? Ask your doctor. I don't know.
I think that's person to person. I'm a breakfast guy. I have a big breakfast every day. That breakfast carries me through till after our lunchtime workout, in which then I have lunch at that point. And then most days I really don't have a lot for dinner, honestly. If I get hungry, I get hungry at 4:30.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just try to throw something together, and that's pretty much it.
The bulk of my carbs come at breakfast, either cereal or I eat oats.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of grain in the morning. So toast. Yesterday, my wife made me ground turkey, eggs, and a what we call seeded bread. I can't remember the good seed or something like that.
Dave's?
Yeah, Dave's Killer Bread, the seeded Dave's Killer Bread. But I'll have a cup of oats, a cup of Kashi Heart Healthy cereal. I'll usually try to put some kind of fruit in there, which I know you hate. I love raw blueberries. So I'll do stuff like that, but it is what it is. So the key is having a small dinner, correct? The key is finding what works for you. Again,
What you can replicate.
yeah, what you can do every day, all day, every day for months and years at a time. I don't usually eat after 4 o'clock. I really try not to. I'm not as good at that on the weekends, but you know.
In simplest terms, the key is get all your food in for the day before, ideally you want to stop eating 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. So for me, that's usually somewhere in the 4 to 5 o'clock window.
Yeah, by the way, it's 8:17. Brylark makes a good show. I didn't even realize it was that late. Brylark said, let's hit tax talk, and then you guys get out of here. Long show today. Seriously. 3 minutes on federal taxes. Did you guys see that the richest Americans pay almost no taxes? So the Bezoses, the Gates. By the way, Bill Gates apparently is a machine for having affairs. Mm-hmm. That story got even worse. But did you see that the top earners in this country pay almost no taxes, and they do it completely legally?
Yeah.
And the Trump tax initiative that he passed several years ago made that easier for those billionaires not to pay taxes. It's remarkable to me. So the simple question is, should people that make billions, so Jeff Bezos, pay more tax than you and I pay?
I mean, yes, conceptually, I do think he should. Yes, he's making more money. He should pay more taxes, but I don't think on percentage he should. I think that I'm a big believer that everybody has the same opportunity. Everybody has the same choice, okay? It may take you longer to get to that choice or shorter to get to that choice, but everybody has the same choice. As guys, we all have the same opportunity to get that girl pregnant on prom night or not, right? We all have the same opportunity to do these things that will prevent us from living a really wealthy lifestyle.
Yes.
So we don't resent Jeff Bezos or Elon or any of these guys because they didn't pay taxes, right? We resent them because they live the life that we wish we could live.
Correct.
And that's where I have a problem. We shouldn't, if they're doing it legally, we shouldn't resent them. They're doing it legally. They're not cheating the system.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to pay their share, though. And what's frustrating is they avoid it because they have access to investments. Mm-hmm. So they're worth billions, but they're able to hide that in real estate or stocks or whatever. And I sort of agree with you that we all start at a level playing field, only we don't. If you're black or Latino in this country, you don't have the same opportunities as fair-skinned white Americans do. Let's keep that in mind, in my opinion. Mm. But when you're a billionaire, you have access to investments that I don't have access to. Mm-hmm. You can buy golf courses through nefarious means, granted, but you can also hide your money in those golf courses or homes or buildings or whatever that might be. There's no way, unless your dad handed you a trust fund, that you're going to be able to get to that. My point is, I think everybody has to pay 33.3% of the money that they make, generally speaking. Mm. I don't think that a billionaire should be taxed 50% and I should be taxed 20%. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if a flat tax is the answer. I know that Jeff Bezos needs to be paying more tax. Tim Cook's need to be paying more tax. Mm-hmm. Bill Gates, the Elon Musk. So Elon Musk paid no tax, zero, for like 5 straight years. There's something wrong with that. Mm-hmm. When we have poverty and educational issues in this country, when we can't pay teachers, Elon Musk should be paying more tax. Mm-hmm. When we can't pay, right now, one of the biggest problems in this country for many reasons is police departments can't find anybody who wants to be a policeman. A lot of that is tax and pay. So I think those are the bigger issues, and there's a grander conversation. So that's where I will leave it because we do have to go. Christian Simpson says, bro, Royce's defense was insane. It was. Have you guys seen Michael Moore's Capitalism movie? We have. Random question. Do you guys have a favorite president? Jeez.
That's a trap question.
Yeah, that's a trap question. I don't have time to get into that.
Yeah.
What gym do you guys work out at? Vaza Fitness. It is what it is. Play the music. Show's over. There you go. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be getting ready for Jazz Game 2. Over under Devin Booker points tonight.
28.
Over. He'll score more than 28.
Yeah, I agree.
Rough night the other night. He'll go over 28. I think you're looking at a 35-plus game for Devin Booker.
Hope so.
I think Suns go up 2-0. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you give us a thumbs up before you get out of here. If you subscribe on the show, thank you so much. Somebody in the comments was asking, hey, what are you giving away next? It's probably going to be another Xbox, but we haven't decided that yet. We'll do it at 1,500 subscribers. We're at 1,000. We're at like 1,005 or 10 or whatever it is now. That'll be at 1,500, so we'll start talking about that. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Until tomorrow, say Royce's defense was off the chart, bro.
Royce's defense is off the chart, bro.